Hello, good afternoon and salam Nisam. Thanks for joining us. You're watching World Today. Before we begin, here's a brief look at today's top stories. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim held a telephone conversation with Iranian Foreign Minister Said Abbas Araghchi last night to discuss regional developments in West Asia. According to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Dato Sri Anwar also strongly condemned the military aggression by the US and Israel against Iran, describing it as contrary to international rules and principles and moral norms. A total of 323 Malaysians in Qatar have registered to take part in the voluntary repatriation effort organised by the Malaysian government so far. The first flight bringing Malaysians home is expected to depart via Saudi Arabia as early as Monday or Tuesday, although the schedule has not yet been finalised. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Said Iravani, has accused the United States and Israel of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure during the ongoing conflict. Iravani said at least 1,332 Iranian civilians have been killed, with thousands more injured since the fighting began. South Korea will receive more than 6 million barrels of crude oil from the United Arab Emirates. The development comes amid concerns over energy prices due to the escalating conflict in the West Asian region. 2 South Korean tankers will be sent to a UAE port that does not require passage through the Hormuz Strait to receive the oil. Indonesia will ban social media access for children under 16, citing threats from online pornography, cyberbullying, online fraud and internet addiction. Communications Minister Mutia Hafid said the Indonesian government is stepping in so that parents no longer have to fight alone against the giants of the algorithm, adding that implementation will begin on 28 March. An Indonesian court on Friday sentenced one Thai national to life in prison and another to 17 years for smuggling nearly 2 tons of methamphetamine in one of the country's biggest drug busts in years. Both defendants and 4 Indonesians were arrested by Indonesian police in May 2025 after the fishing boat they were aboard was found to be carrying 67 boxes of methamphetamine weighing nearly 2 tons. The Sarquihuato River overflowed in the early hours of Friday in the district of Aina in Peru's Ayacucho region, flooding homes and streets with water and mud after intense rainfall. The recent torrential downpours have caused widespread damage across southern Peru, affecting about 5,500 homes and forcing many residents to evacuate. German media group Axel Springer has agreed to buy UK newspaper publisher Telegraph Media Group for £575 million in cash. The deal brings an end to a prolonged period of uncertainty over the newspaper's ownership. Axel Springer said it would preserve the Telegraph legacy and reaffirm commitment to quality journalism in Britain. Malaysia failed to advance automatically to the finals of the 2026 Hockey World Cup qualifiers when they lost 7-1 to England in the semi-final match in Ismailia, Egypt. The national squad still has a chance to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, as the 3 best overall teams from the qualifiers will get a slot and will take on either Pakistan or Japan for the 3rd and 4th place decider. Aaron Chia So Yik underlined their status as Malaysia's #1 men's double pair after defeating compatriots Man Wei Chong, T Kai Woon 21-16, 20-22, 21-14 to book a place in the semi-finals of the All England on Friday. World number 2 Pearly Tan and Tina also move a step closer to a historic All England title after powering into the women's doubles semi-finals early this morning. Pearly Tina defeated Indonesia's world number 21 Febriana Dwi Puji Kusuma, Melissa Treyas Puspitasari 21-9, 21-18.
Di gelanggang ini, tiada ruang untuk kesilapan. Lebih seabad sejarah tercipta, penuh dan air mata menjadi saksi. Ini bukan sekadar kejuaraan, ini adalah takhta keagungan. Rasai debarannya. Saksikan pertarungan demi maruah dari 3 hingga 8 Mac 2026 di saluran OK, Sukan RTM dan penstriman langsung di RTM Klik. Kejohanan Badminton All England 2026 hanya di RTM.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim held a telephone conversation with Iranian Foreign Minister Said Abbas Araghchi to discuss regional developments in West Asia. According to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, during the call, Datuk Sri Anwar expressed condolences to the government and people of Iran over the death of its Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and Iranian citizens killed by United States and Israeli attacks. He also strongly condemned the military aggression by the US and Israel against Iran, describing it as contrary to international rules, principles and moral norms. The Prime Minister also referred to his ongoing political consultations with leaders of regional countries and called for an immediate halt to the war of aggression and the restoration of peace and stability in the region, adding that Malaysia will spare no effort in this regard. For his part, Arghachi noted that Iran harbours no hostility towards the countries along the Persian Gulf and remains committed to a policy of good neighbourliness and friendship with them. Similarly, Malaysia has expressed support for Qatar and Bahrain amid threats to their sovereignty and security. Datuk Sri Anwar held separate phone calls with Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani and Bahrain's Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. They discussed recent developments in the region and agreed that all parties should prioritise peaceful solutions and exercise restraint to protect regional stability. Prime Minister also thanked both governments for ensuring the safety of Malaysians in their countries and expressed hope that Ramadan would strengthen unity and support lasting peace in the region. A total of 323 Malaysians in Qatar have registered to take part in the voluntary repatriation effort organised by the Malaysian government so far. The first flight bringing Malaysians home is expected to depart by Saudi Arabia as early as Monday or Tuesday, although the schedule has not yet been finalised. Malaysia's ambassador to Qatar, Muhammad Faisal Razali, emphasised that participation is entirely voluntary and encouraged Malaysians who wish to return to take the opportunity as another repatriation operation may not be arranged in the future. Those involved in the repatriation can bring also their spouses, including non-Malaysian partners, as well as domestic helpers from ASEAN countries. Meanwhile, similar efforts are underway in the United Arab Emirates, with the Malaysian Consulate General in Dubai currently updating data on citizens who wish to return home. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Said Iravani, has accused the United States and Israel of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure during the ongoing conflict. Speaking to reporters in New York, Iravani said at least 1,332 Iranian civilians have been killed, with thousands more injured since the fighting began. He insisted that Iran does not target the interests of neighbouring countries and is investigating claims that it struck non-military locations.
The United States and Israel have demonstrated that they recognize no red line in committing their crimes. Iranian cities are being attacked indiscriminately. Densely populated residential area and critical civilian infrastructure are deliberately targeted. These acts constitute clear war crimes and crime against humanity.
Iravani said preliminary assessments suggest some of the incidents may have been caused by interceptions or disruptions by US defense systems, which may have diverted attacks from their intended military targets. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has demanded unconditional surrender from Iran and said the country's next supreme leader must be acceptable following the killing of Ali Khamenei on the first day of war. Iravani described the remark as a clear violation of the principle of non-interference, as outlined in the UN Charter, stressing that Iran's leadership will be chosen solely according to its constitution and the will of the Iranian people.
The selection of Iran's leadership will take place strictly in accordance with our constitutional procedures and solely by the will of the Iranian people, without any foreign interference. Iran is a sovereign and independent state. It does not accept and will never allow any foreign power to interfere in its internal affairs.
Hours after Trump's statement, Iran's president said several countries have begun mediation efforts, an early sign that diplomatic move may be underway to end the conflict. French President Emmanuel Macron has held phone talks with Syria's President Ahmed al-Shara and Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun amid rising tensions in West Asia. In a post on X, Macron said France is working with international partners to prevent the conflict from spreading. He stressed that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria and Lebanon must be respected in line with international law. Macron also warned that any actions that could fuel instability must not be allowed to create space for violence and extremism. France, he said, remains committed to strengthening diplomatic efforts to contain the conflict and safeguard regional stability. Analysts say the outreach highlights France's attempt to reinforce its role as a key diplomatic player in West Asia. This is as Europe and the wider international community grow increasingly worried about the risk of a broader war that could threaten global security. South Korea plans to receive 6 million barrels or more of crude oil from the United Arab Emirates UAE. South Korea's presidential chief of staff Kang Hoon-sik said on Friday that the arrangement followed instructions from President Lee Jae-myung after consultations with Khaldun Khalifa Al Mubarak, chairman of the Executive Affairs Authority of Abu Dhabi. In a briefing held in Seoul, Kang explained that under the plan, South Korea will dispatch 2 oil tankers to UAE port that does not require transit through the strategically sensitive Strait of Hormuz, with the UAE state oil company filling the vessels with about 4 million barrels of crude. In addition, the UAE has assured Seoul it could supply another 2 million barrels from crude reserves already stored in South Korea if needed. Kang said the imports were expected to help stabilize domestic energy supply and demand while easing pressure on oil prices, which he said had recently reacted sharply to global developments. Venezuela's economic crisis is deepening, with inflation surging to 475% in 2025, the highest in the world. The spike followed tighter U.S. sanctions in the months leading up to the ouster of former leader Nicolas Maduro. The figure is far higher than the International Monetary Fund's forecast of about 270%. The Central Bank of Venezuela says inflation for the first 2 months of 2026 has already reached nearly 52%. This situation has sparked concern among the public, who are burdened by rising household costs, while also putting pressure on business activities.
Pienso mucho en los adultos mayores que yo, que no pueden comprar nada, porque los remedios son costosos. Un remedio que te vale 7.000 bolívares, una pastilla, y cobramos 130. No, demasiado.
Claro que nos preocupa porque si esto sigue así, vale la pena tener el negocio, para tener pérdida. O sea, tú tienes un negocio es para obtener una ganancia. Pues si obtienes pérdida, tú cierras tu negocio.
Señores, la canasta básica cuesta $1.500 y el artículo 91 te habla de que tienes que cubrir tu salario esa canasta básica. Entonces, ¿por qué hay personas hablando de $200 o $300 poniéndole monto?
The United States and Ecuador carried out a joint operation targeting drug trafficking operations in the South American country on Friday, with the U.S. calling the move lethal kinetic operations. The camp belonged to the Comandos de la Frontera, a Colombian crime group made up of descendants, and had a capacity for 50 people. Neither the U.S. Southern Command, a branch of its military that oversees forces in Latin America, nor Ecuador's defense ministry said if anyone was killed or captured in the strike, which Ecuador dubbed Operation Total Extermination. The operation used helicopters, aircraft, riverboats and drones to locate and bomb a drug traffickers' training camp in northeast Ecuador near the Colombian border. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa has made a military crackdown on organized crime a cornerstone of his administration, and his government imposed tariffs on its larger neighbor Colombia, accusing it of not doing enough to fight drug trafficking. The operation followed a similar U.S.-Ecuadorian operation announced by the U.S. Southern Command earlier this week. An Indonesian court on Friday sentenced one Thai national to life in prison and another to 17 years for smuggling nearly 2 tons of methamphetamine in one of the country's biggest drug busts in years. A judge said the court sentenced Wirapat Pongwan to life in prison for acting as an intermediary and overseeing drug distribution. The other defendant, Tarapong Lekra Pradup, got 17 years in jail after being found guilty of acting as an intermediary in the sale and purchase of the drugs. Both defendants and 4 Indonesians were arrested by Indonesian police in May 2005 after the fishing boat they were aboard was found to be carrying 67 boxes of methamphetamine weighing nearly 2 tons, court documents showed. The drugs were smuggled from Phuket and were believed to have been sourced from an international network operating in Thailand, Myanmar and Laos. They were arrested in the waters of Karimun in Riau Islands province near Singapore, and police said the drugs were wrapped in tea bags. Indonesia will ban social media access for children under the age of 16 starting 28 March. The move is aimed at protecting young users from online threats such as pornography, cyberbullying, scams and digital addiction. Indonesia's Communication Minister Mutia Hafiz said social media accounts belonging to users under 16 on high-risk platforms will begin to be deactivated. Among the platforms affected are YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Bigo Live and Roblox. Hafiz said the policy will help ensure parents are no longer left to fight alone against powerful online algorithms. The rollout will be implemented in stages until all social media platforms comply with the new regulations. So far, TikTok and Google Indonesia have not responded to the policy. German media group Axel Springer said on Friday it had agreed to buy Britain's Telegraph media group for £575 million, equivalent to about $766.3 million. The transaction, which Axel Springer said was done in cash, brings an end to a prolonged period of uncertainty over the newspaper's ownership. The deal gatecrashed Daily Mail owner DMGT's attempt to buy its broadsheet rival, which had been facing regulatory probes in Britain amid concerns about media polarity. Axel Springer said it would preserve the Telegraph's legacy while providing a platform for expansion, including in the US, and reaffirm its commitment to high-quality independent journalism and media plurality in Britain. After buying Politico in a deal valued at around $1 billion in 2021, the Telegraph purchase becomes Axel Springer's second largest investment since its founding in 1946, following an earlier failed attempt to acquire the paper in 2004. Matthias Döpfner, Axel Springer's CEO, said owning the Telegraph was a privilege and a duty. Coming up, Tony and Mahrez help Al Ahly reclaim top spot with huge Sea Derby win. Malaysia failed to advance automatically to the finals of the 2026 Hockey World Cup qualifiers when they lost 7-1 to England in the semi-final match in Ismailia, Egypt. The national squad still has a chance to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, as the 3 best overall teams from the qualifiers will get a slot and will take on either Pakistan or Japan for the 3rd and 4th place decider. England dominated the match against Malaysia, scoring 4 goals through Sam Ward, Samuel Hooper, Thomas Horsby and Stuart Rushmere before Malaysia managed to reply through a field goal by Faisal Sari in the 50th minute. England then completed their rout when Zachary Wallace scored through a penalty corner in the 54th minute. Rushmere scored his second personal goal in the 59th minute, and Hooper ended the match with the 7th goal in the 60th minute.
I think we played well, only the score doesn't look good for us. We had 5 penalty corners, they scored 4, and too many individual errors, and 2-3 goalkeeping errors. So we cannot afford to give very So, of course, we are still doing the same thing. But there is no thing about it. We need to win tomorrow.
The country's top men's doubles pair, Aaron Chia So Woo Yik, advanced to the semi-finals of the 2026 All-England Badminton Championship after defeating compatriots Main Wei Chong, T Kai Woon in a quarter-final action held in Birmingham last night. The world number 2 pair recorded a 21-16, 20-22, 21-14 victory in a 61-minute battle, subsequently booking their ticket to the Final Four of the world's oldest badminton tournament. This victory marks the 5th win for Aaron Woo Yik over the national pair out of 8 total encounters. In the semi-finals, Aaron Woo Yik are scheduled to face China's Cheng Bo Yang Li Yi, who advanced after defeating the Indonesian pair Muhammad Rian Adrianto Rahmat Hidayat 21-16, 21-10 in another quarter-final match. Meanwhile, world number 2 Perli Tan Tina moved a step closer to a historic All-England title after powering to the women's doubles semi-finals early this morning. Perli Tina defeated Indonesia's world number 21 Febriana Dwi Puji Kusuma, Melissa Trias Puspitasari 21-9, 21-18 to become the first Malaysian pair to reach this stage since 2007. The semi-final run remains the best ever achievement by a Malaysian women's double pair at the All-England, and Perli Tina will now aim to go one better when they face South Korea's Baekhana Lee Soo-hee tonight. Al-Ahly climbed to the top of the Saudi Pro League standings following a 3-1 victory at home to Al-Ittihad in Jeddah on Friday. It was an even start from both sides, with Musa Diaby and Galino going close at either end, while Husim Ar felt he should have had a penalty in the 23rd minute after being brought down in the Al-Ahly box. Englishman Ivan Toney tapped in to put the hosts 1-0 up before a penalty from Brazil former Liverpool midfielder Fabiano leveled matters just after the break. Algeria winger Riyad Mahrez then cut inside and fired home in the 59th minute, while forward Firas Alburaikan dispossessed goalkeeper Predrag Rajkovic before shooting it into an empty net to seal a 3-1 win. Al-Ahly improved to 62 points after 25 matches, one clear of Al Nassr. However, Al Nassr have a game in hand but will be without an injured Cristiano Ronaldo when they host Neom on Saturday. Al Hilal also sit a point off the lead following their 4-0 home win against Al Najmah. Al Ittihad have not won any of the last 7 away league matches, their longest away run without a win since an 8-match streak between February and November 2018. American sprinter Fred Kerley has been suspended for missing 3 out of competition drug tests within a 12-month period. The Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, in announcing the matter on Friday, said Kerley's missed tests qualify as whereabouts failure under the World Anti-Doping Code. The regulations require athletes to participate in a registered testing pool to provide daily location details so they can be tested without notice. 3 missed tests or filing failures in a year can trigger a sanction of up to 2 years. Kerley, 30, won silver in the 100 metres at the Tokyo Olympics and bronze in Paris last summer. He also captured the 100-metre world title in 2022. Kerley joined the Enhanced Games in September, a decision that came while he was facing a provisional suspension by the AIU for multiple whereabouts failures. The event that allows athletes to use performance-enhancing drugs that are banned in official competition is set to take place on 24th May 2026 in Las Vegas. Up next, Disney and Pixar's Hopper seeks to translate viral meme to box office goal. Walt Disney's Pixar Animation Studios is hoping a viral meme featuring a googly-eyed lizard character from its new film, Hoppers, translates to box office success when the movie opens this weekend in theatres. The studio unwittingly spawned the social media hit when a 28-second clip of the bug-eyed reptile repeatedly tapping a glowing screen to trigger an automated voice that says "Lizard" appeared in the ending credits of another Pixar film, Elio, released last June. The clip went viral and inspired music mixes to songs from Far East Movement and the Ting Tings on TikTok, a lizard click website with a button that repeats the word lizard in a robotic voice. And thousands of social media posts that, within 2 months, attracted some 316 million views according to Disney. Pixar quietly laid claim to the character in a social media post in August, simply saying his name is Tom.
We started out with our Tom lizard. He was at the end of Elio, and he became a meme, and that was not something that we planned. And that was huge for Tom to get out there.
Original animation has been a tougher sell, especially after the COVID-19 outbreak, when Disney released animated films like Soul, Luca and Turning Red straight to its Disney Plus streaming service. Families now got accustomed to seeing new animated films from the comfort of their own living rooms. Instrument played by some rock music's biggest names are on display at Christie's in New York City ahead of a series of auctions from Jim Irsay's collection later this month. The late Indianapolis Colts owner spent decades compiling the trove. Among the top lots is Ringo Starr's first Ludwig drum kit, which he used with the Beatles, with an estimate of $1 million to $2 million. Christie's head of sales for the Jim Irsay collection, Natalie Furneaux, said the set was used during a key early stretch for the band, including performances leading up to the Ed Sullivan Show and recordings of some of the group's early songs. Another top lot is Kurt Cobain's Fender Mustang, used in the music video for Nirvana's 1991 single Smells Like Teen Spirit.
This is his Fender Mustang that was used in the Smells Like Teen Spirit music video. It is a really iconic, again, piece of music history. I think a lot of people remember seeing that on that music video on MTV, through the haze of the gymnasium, and in classic Cobain fashion, it bears some marks of being used in both the video and just used in concert performances. So it definitely has some wear and tear on it, but again, it wouldn't be a Nirvana guitar if it didn't. That's one of the top lots. That's estimated at $2.5 to $5 million.
Christie said the collection reflects the breadth of Irsay's interest, from celebrity-played guitars to vintage instruments and broader 20th century cultural artifacts. Public viewing opens on Friday at Christie's New York, with online sale is already underway. Visitors at the UK's largest zoo were treated to a delightful sight as a group of European brown bears emerged from hibernation for the first time this year. At Whipsnade Zoo, bears named Mana, Minnie, Naya and Cinderella left their cozy dens after about 3 months of winter sleep. The long rest is a natural survival strategy that helps the bear conserve energy during the colder months. Footage captured by zookeepers shows the bear rolling on the grass and soaking up the sunshine as they begin preparing to forage. Despite having a steady supply of food, the bears still follow their natural instincts to search for food outdoors. Keepers also adjust the diet and feeding routine to mirror natural behavior and encourage the animals to rest during the coldest part of winter. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the European brown bear is currently listed as a species of least concern. However, several bear populations across Europe remain critically endangered, largely due to habitat loss and growing human-bear conflicts. That concludes today's edition of World Today. Until then, I'm Sahih Samsudin, Salam Malaysia Madani, and thank you for watching.